quorum. We have everyone here tonight. Glad to have everybody back.
New Year.
You had a good holidays? If we could, can we get up and say the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, for the people that did not get sworn in at the city council meeting, let's go down front and we'll get sworn in by the mayor. And by the way, Mayor, thank you for coming out.
I know.
Yeah.
Always.
Just three of us. Three?
Derek's not here.
Grab a copy to read from. Just makes it easier. In case I rattle off too long a string and can't remember everything. Just stand over here, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to...
Gotta make you official.
Get them all. Yes. All right,
You need to do that. You need to make it.
It is my honor to do oath of office for not really new members, but to reinforce the oath of office for some of our serving rec commission members. And we are very grateful for your service. We appreciate it. It's an honor to be able to participate in this with you. So this is the oath of office for the Recreation Commission of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia. I ask that you please raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Cheryl Rand,
Hereby accept the honor of serving as a board member of the Recreation Commission of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia.
hereby accept the honor of serving as a board member of the Recreation Commission of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that
I do solemnly swear or affirm that
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I am qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia,
I am qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia.
and I shall support the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
I shall support the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia, the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
Further, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I shall
Further, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I shall
faithfully perform the duties of a Recreation Commission member,
faithfully perform the duties of a Recreation Commission member,
regularly attend meetings,
regularly attend meetings,
uphold the ideals of community and service,
uphold the ideals of community and service,
act and conduct business in accordance with the city's codes of ethics and conduct,
act and conduct business in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
and support the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia.
and support the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta.
So sworn this 10th day of January, 2023.
So sworn this 10th day of January 2023.
Congratulations.
There we
Thank you for your
go.
service.
How many accounted for? Could I have some of that?
Somewhere along the way, there must have been a reason the state required that.
To grab. Yeah, I'm sticking out for this.
I never had any accounted for public money.
No city.
Do we leave these here? Thank you. Thank you for coming to us.
Got one for my daughter. She's in Charleston. I was walking the street. She's horrible. I said it was cheaper.
Unaccounted public money.
I-
I don't know.
Okay, we're going to go to approving of the minutes of our November 15th Rec Commission meeting. Commissioner Bowers, you'll abstain from voting on this.
She's so thorough.
The minutes have been distributed to you. Are there any corrections? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes as written from the November 15th, 2022 Recreation Commission meeting.
It has been moved by Commissioner Scott and seconded by Commissioner Kagan that we approve the minutes as written for the November 15th, 2022 Recreation Commission meeting. I will now call for a vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. The motion passes 8-0. We get to have something we look forward to. We get to have one of our partners come, and the NAFL is going to come tonight and speak. So if you would come up, just state your name, Vaughn, we'll go from there. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. My name is Vaughn Lemoyne. I represent North Atlanta Football League, or the NAFL. We have a little slide.
Yeah,
Pictures speak 1,000 words.
we got him.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. So we are the city's provider. Oh, cool. Thank you so much. So we're the city's provider of football and cheerleading. We offer programs in tackle football, flag football, as well as cheerleading in the city of Alpharetta. We are a youth league. So what that means is we service the community for kindergarten through fifth graders. We're very proud of that model. And just to give you a quick background on why we do that, one of the biggest questions I get every year is why don't we do anything past the fifth grade, or why don't we offer any services past the fifth grade? We're extremely supportive of our feeder football programs and our high school football programs. I believe in that model wholly, and I think it's great for the community. And so we will always stop at fifth grade so that we can have our players continue on to feeder football at sixth grade, where they could start the continuity of playing with teammates that they'll ultimately play high school football with. So again, feeder football are football teams that are created at the middle school level that play specifically with kids that they will play high school with. So Alpharetta High School has a feeder football team. So regardless of what middle school you go to, you get to play Alpharetta feeder football together and start that continuity that you'll do. So we always will end at fifth grade because we firmly believe in the feeder football model. Our flag football league services kindergarten through fifth graders, as well as our cheerleading. Our cheerleading is kindergarten through fifth. And then our tackle football league services second through fifth graders. We play in the Georgia Football Association. All of our competition starts tackle football at kindergarten. We don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but we've always found second grade to be a good entry point into tackle football. We also really like our flag football league as an introductory area to football. So they get to play flag football at kindergarten and first grade, learn the fundamentals of football, and then if they choose to move into the tackle side of it, they can do that at second grade. We play at North Park, absolutely fantastic facilities that you all provide to us and the city provides to us. And in fact, North Park 2 was just returfed this year, which is amazing. So the facilities are incredible. Our MOU with the city of Milton also allows us to play at Bell Memorial as well. So that's another park that we utilize throughout the season. So I've had the pleasure of being on the board for the last 5 years. I've been the president for the last 2 years. And I'm happy to report that we have over 600 kids in our program for the first time in probably a decade, which is really cool. Unfortunately, tackle football was a declining registration sport for many years. A lot of bad publicity when it came to concussions and CTE. So football nationwide really went through a declining registration. Our numbers are incredible. They are climbing every year. we are actually stronger. Our numbers this year beat our pre-COVID numbers, which is huge. So again, we had over 600 kids in our program. We had 200 kids playing tackle football, 300 kids playing flag football, and we had 104 cheerleaders, which was really cool. I'll talk about that in a second. Probably most proud of that number, honestly. We saw a 7% growth year over year. We had 563 kids in the program last year. Again, got it over 600. Again, you can see some of the progression, our biggest jump being cheerleading, again, which I think is really cool. Again, some of our numbers, growth-wise, you can see the tremendous growth. I mean, even pre-COVID in 2019 to where we are in 2022, our numbers have gained substantially. So registrations continue to climb, which means, you know, we get to service more and more kids in the community, give them something to do in the fall, which is pretty cool. So some of the things that we've accomplished over the last few years, our flag football league has grown so big that we are now our own league. So we used to have our teams playing in a larger league, which is the NMFL. We realized that our teams made up about 90% of that league, and so we made it our own league. And so we now have our own flag football league, self-contained flag football league, which is, again, very hard to do without high numbers. Again, we were able to have 300 kids in our flag football program this year and basically able to produce our own league. Our 4th and 5th grade tackle teams grew from just one team 2 years ago. We had 4 teams in each age group this year, which is incredible. That's fantastic growth for our feeder football as well as our high school football models. So that's really great. And again, one of the bullet points that we are really proud of, our cheer program has tripled in size in the last 2 years. So we had 39 cheerleaders just 2 years ago. We had over 100 this year, which is great. Again, this is how our breakdown happened in tackle football. So in tackle football, in 2nd grade, we had 1 team. 3rd grade, we had 2 teams. 4th grade, we had 4 teams. And 5th grade, we had 3 teams this year. So again, numbers growing year over year. We're getting more and more teams every year, which is great. Our tackle football program plays in the Georgia Football Association. So our tackle program, we are not big enough to have our own self-contained league. And so we play in a larger parent league, which is the Georgia Football Association. So we play a lot of Forsyth County schools. We play Midway and Sharon Springs, Lanier-Land, things like that. We had a lot of success in tackle football. The GFA is not very happy with us because we had a team from our park in almost every championship game. So our 2nd grade team had an undefeated regular season and won the GFA championship. Our 3rd grade had one of the 3rd grade teams had an undefeated regular season. It was a runner-up in the GFA championship. 2 of our 4th grade teams reached the GFA semifinals, and our 5th grade team was undefeated and won the GFA championship. So a tremendous amount of success coming from this area, representing a lot of North Atlanta for football. So very proud of our success. A lot of hard work from the kids and a lot of hard work from the volunteer coaches. So it was a pretty great year. Our flag football, we had 19 flag football teams across all age groups. So we had 7 teams at K1, 8 teams at 2nd, 3rd, and at 4th, 5th, we had 4 teams. So we see those numbers drop off a little bit at 4th and 5th grade because we start to see a lot of kids really start to migrate over to the tackle side. So once they get a little older, parents get a little bit more comfortable with them playing tackle football. So our numbers drop as they get older in flag and they increase as they get older in tackle. Again, our flag football league, we are our own league. We are a self-contained league, and we're very proud of that. That's only been the case for the last 2 or 3 years. Our flag football league, when we created the league, our own league, we invited other teams to play in that. So Kings Ridge, Johns Creek, and Chattahoochee all have teams that play in our league, which is great.
Thank you for that.
What's that?
I said thank you for that.
Yeah, that's great. We love having. I mean, again, that's the diversity we want. I mean, we want to be able to have a league big enough where teams can join us. So, and I can tell you, those municipalities are very thankful because Johns Creek is struggling with their football numbers, and so to be able to have a place where they can play, they can put together. They usually put together maybe 1 team per age group that joins us. Chattahoochee the same, and then Kings Ridge is able to produce a team or 2 at every age group. So, to be able to service them and provide a league for them to play in is great. Again, our cheer squads tripled in size, which is awesome. One of the things I really am happy with our cheerleading program, my 3rd son is in the NFL. I have 2 others that have already graduated out of it. And when my older boys went through, it's all just a lot of siblings that participated in cheerleading. So brother would play football, sister would cheerlead because they were already there. The number of families I saw that were there just for cheerleading this year was off the charts. It was fantastic. And so a lot of families showing up just to provide, just to participate in the cheer program in and of itself was really cool. So we contribute a lot of that to our great coaches. We have a lot of great cheer coaches that have brought in a lot of girls for that. It's been a lot of fun.
The cheerleaders support both football programs, or how does that?
They cheer for tackle. They cheer for just tackle. They do. Yep. A little easier to cheer for tackle again because our competition is other parks. And so because we are basically self-contained on the flag team, they would be cheering for both teams, which I guess is doable. But it's more fun for them to go and to cheer for us when we're versus somebody else that's a true opponent. But yes, this year we did focus on tackle. Our cheer mission, the cheerleaders start all at the same age. So we have a kindergarten team, a first grade team, a second grade team, a third grade team, and a fourth and fifth grade teams. It's a fun, no judgment environment. Allows the girls to really shine and have a good time. And then again, very similar to our football method and our football methodology, our goal is to build a cheerleading path that will ultimately lead to feeder cheer and to high school cheer. That's our goal. Our goal for this year is just continued growth. The strong partnership that we have with you all in the city allows us to do that. The fields that you provide to us, we basically have been told that the sky's the limit as far as field space. If we need it, you guys will build it, which we appreciate. Hopefully we'll take you up on that one day. But North Park's been spectacular, and we really appreciate that. We want to continue to expand our feeder programs. Our goal is to have huge, high school football teams and feeder teams. Again, recognizing that at one point this was a declining registration sport and helping to get those numbers up. We take a lot of pride in that. So we really feel like we are the basis for, in the next 6 to 8 years, having a very, very, very competitive Alpharetta high school team. So that's obviously the goal. And then, of course, to develop a wealth of volunteer coaches that add a lot of value to the community because, at the end of the day, we don't exist without our volunteer coaches, and they are a big part of our community. They teach these kids, a lot of what they need to be good people, and so we appreciate them. That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Yeah, Vaughn, coming out of COVID a couple of years back, we had a meeting, you guys and stuff, and there was concern about the drop-off number of kids from, say, Alpharetta or how many from, and I know we got a memorandum of understanding there between Johns Creek, I think Milton too, and Alpharetta,
Yep.
so they can play with it. You have a breakdown on the number of kids out of each high school district?
I don't, and I can get them for you, though. I don't, and I got to tell you, that's a number that we chose not to track this year or didn't have a necessity to because of the MOU. Because the MOU that was in place, was just one, it was one big. It allowed us to move between fields without worrying about residency. I can get those numbers for you. I can tell you they are on the rise, and I know that, and I can see it. One of the big things that we've tried to do is realize that it's a top-down problem. Or top-down issue. We're getting more kids from Alpharetta to be able to play football. So we actually added 2 head coaches this season that were both Alpharetta-based coaches, which is big. Again, it's a top-down thing, right? I mean, you bring kids in from your community to play. So we went for last year. We had 1 second-grade team that grew to 2 third-grade teams. One of our third-grade coaches that we put in place was a gentleman from Alpharetta. His son actually plays for Alpharetta High School, and he's involved with the coaching staff at Alpharetta High School too, which is great. And he is just dead set on getting more and more kids involved. So we recognize it as an issue that we want to attack from the top down, and we want to get out and find coaches from the city of Alpharetta that will continue to pull those residents in because we feel like that's really important. Your high school coach has been fantastic too. He just had a son that finished out his 5th grade year, so he was there. He was physically in our league constantly at practices and games, and his support's been really valuable too. So again, that top-down, I think that we realize that's really, truly important, that top-down model, understanding that it's the head of the snake, right? It's if we can get coaches and leaders within the Alpharetta community, that will result in more numbers. So I know that the numbers went up, and I'll be happy to get them for you, but I do know that they went up this year, which is great. We also expanded the number of our board members too, again, understanding that top-down approach. We added 3 board members as well this year that were Alpharetta residents, which was great.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have any other questions? Oh, Carla.
What do you attribute the cheerleading explosion to?
It's a good question.
Some of the contributing factors.
I really do believe it's the coaches. And again, I hate to say it over and over again, but it is youth sports, it really can be a top-down thing. I mean, when you have the right coaches that are constantly in the community that are I don't know if recruiting is the right word, but you are bringing people in. That's a big thing. I mean, we definitely turned over some coaches and we had some new coaches come in. And again, I think that there has been a realization in the last couple years that this is not just the sisters of football players are the ones that are cheerleaders. This is an actual sport that we offer, and it's a segment of our league that they can participate in. I mean, the number of parents I saw this year that weren't sibling related, that they were just there for cheer, that was probably the biggest portion of our growth. And again, that's coaches. That's coaches that we brought into the community that said, hey, I don't know what you're doing in the fall, but come cheer. And so that's what I contribute the most is our coaches, because we had I think 3 or 4 new coaches. We had to. I mean, we had such an incredible amount of growth, but that realization that it is its own program has been big.
Awesome. Congrats on a great year.
Yeah, so the teams that you're incorporating into your league, like you said, from Kings Ridge or Chattahoochee, is it apparent that there are different teams, or do they commingle with the Alpharetta teams?
Yeah, great question. So in our flag league, that's where we have Kings Ridge, Chattahoochee. They are their own teams. So they have their own uniforms, their own identity. They actually practice on their own fields, and they just come play games against us. Yeah. So,
Them with the city of Alpharetta participants.
They are not. So the city, the NAFL teams that are themselves, they are comprised of Alpharetta and Milton residents. They register through our site. And so then they are ultimately drafted and coached by the coaches that are within our program. We allow Johns Creek to come in and bring their teams in. So they've registered their own kids, they've produced their own coaches, their own jerseys, and they come play against us. And then same thing in our tackle league. Again, we're in the GFA, so our tackle football teams are together. All of our residents are together, and then we go off and we play Midway and Sharon Springs in Lanier. Good.
We have any other questions?
I guess I have a question. So then do our screening and physical checkups and protocols then are vetted against what a Kings Ridge or Chattahoochee does, so that there's liability protections that are consistent or synchronous across those leagues?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a set of guidelines that we require them all to fit within. So we require certification of all the players, so they have to verify that the players are in fact kindergartners or first graders, so we don't have a third grader playing against kindergartners. And then we ask them to structure the team similarly. So again, if you have more than one team, you are to have an evaluation and a draft, so you equally split talent. We don't have one team that's just loaded with all first graders and another team that's all kindergartners. And so we do have a set of standards that we ask that they follow. And again, these are city programs, so they have their own requirements. I mean, Johns Creek is requiring them to be background checked and through their own registration process as well. So there's some checks and balances there that occur, but from a fairness and a league standpoint on our end, we absolutely have a set of procedures that they have to follow to make sure that they're fair. That's a good question, though.
Any other questions? Vaughn, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great job you're doing it.
Really appreciate
Thanks
the
for
city's
volunteering.
support. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to look at old business, which doesn't appear we have any to go to over. So new business tonight, we're going to elect the chair and vice chair. I'm just going to open the floor for nominations for chair.
I nominate Commissioner Dennis Mitchell
Thank you.
for the role of chairman of the Recreation Commission.
I second it.
Let's have a vote. All in favor?
Are you in agreement?
Pass. All right, let's go with the vice chair.
More nominations.
Yeah, there's no one. Yeah, I got crickets.
Oh, I think we already voted.
Yep,
Yeah.
we
voted.
I
did.
just wanted to make sure.
It was
in case anybody
unanimous.
else was to nominate that we had. That we had it. It's okay.
All right, let's go. Let's put nominations for vice chair, please.
Was that unanimous? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I nominate Jim.
Oh, can I say now? Yeah. Okay, I was letting you catch up with me, because we're a fast group here.
Yeah, you are.
Saha.
Saha for the role of Vice Chairman of the Recreation Commission.
And I second that.
Do we have any other nominations?
Any other nominations?
I'm seeing none, so we'll vote for that. All in favor of Commissioner Saha, raise your right hand. Motion passed. Thank you.
Everybody put their hand up.
Who seconded the first one? I think it was Michelle, right?
Yeah. Okay, I think we're through that. We're going to move on to our staff presentations and workshop discussions. And community services. Amanda.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How is everybody? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. For my report tonight, everything I know you all could read what was in the report. So just highlights, the season of celebration was really great. We had 2 really great Friday nights. Our second Friday night, we saw that weather was coming in, so we did move some things around. But our tree lighting was beautiful this year. We had thousands of people that came out. And so it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. Thank you for being there if you were able to attend. So in December, we did wrap up the first semester with this year's students on our ag program. And this is, I have to say, probably the best year of students that we've had yet. Really, really engaged in the program. They've been selling on average 7 boxes every week. But as you saw in your report, with those 7-degree days that we had right around Christmas, everything was lost. Everything, except 1 row of collard green plants. And so it's a bummer, but what it is also is an opportunity for the students to learn in real time what happens in the food system when extreme weather happens. So it's been a really wonderful learning experience, and the students are getting really creative with what they can do instead. So that's been really fun to see with them. Sorry, I'm bouncing back to on the event side of things, and I apologize. We're moving ahead planning Taste of Alpharetta. We had a really great meeting last week. In December about some details about the event, because this will be our second year with Jacob's Eye, the vendor who's organizing the event for us. So excited that that's happening, and this is the time of year when the planning for Taste really ramps up. We're talking about it all year, but now we're really starting to have meetings and put things on the calendar.
Anna, do we have a date for that?
Yeah.
We do. Now Taste of Alpharetta is the 2nd Thursday of the month. So with the proximity to Cinco de Mayo, we made the decision after last year, because we did have to change the date because it fell on Cinco de Mayo. And this year it was going to fall one day, I don't know if it was one day prior or one day after. We decided that because that would be quite a burden for the restaurants, we're just going to permanently move it to the 2nd Thursday of every month, and then it will not cause that kind of date disruption ever again.
Graduation for a lot.
Are there any changes you're going to do from last year to this year as a result of I thought the event was fantastic, so I don't have any recommendations, but were there any things that you guys saw that you're going to change as a result of?
So one of the things that we're talking about is, and it looks like it's going to happen, is we're going to go to digital ticketing. So we will not have the paper tickets. We've been talking about that. I know as a city we've been talking about that for a long time. And it just has not been, it's been cost prohibitive to do it, and the technology has not been reliable enough to take an event the size of Taste of Alpharetta entirely digital, because as you can imagine, if that goes down, it's not good. And so we feel that the vendor that Jacob's Eye has researched has done events the size of Taste of Alpharetta digitally, and so we feel confident that we'll be able to. But I'll have more details on that as we get closer. We're really still in the research phase of that.
And he'll be able to support the restaurateurs in making that option available.
Yeah, we would not go, because it's quite extensive to have all the restaurants be able to take digital currency. So we would not make that step unless we knew with confidence that we could do it successfully.
Can I have you guys just pause for just a second? Please, please, please try to use your mics. It makes it a lot easier when I'm coming back through for the minutes. They are not on. Thank you.
But I'll have more details on that as we get closer. Great question, though.
You gonna try again, going on both sides of 9, or are you guys
Yes.
keep it, okay?
Yes, the way that we were able to spread out the crowd last year was much safer than when we had everyone just on the west side of Highway 9. Of course, it's all hinged on GDOT approving the closure of Highway 9 again, but Public Works will be putting in that application in the coming weeks. And then with approval, then that is our plan, our hope. Any other questions?
Is that it? No other-
Can I ask a question? Do y'all ever look at the high school baccalaureates and graduation dates when y'all are planning these events? Because I know that happens to be our baccalaureate at Kings Ridge, and I'm wondering what the public schools. Do y'all ever think about that when you're planning Taste of Alpharetta?
So we didn't look at specific dates, but we knew that the end of May was absolutely out. Because that's when, it's really,
I used to worry about final exams for all the students, but now by pushing it back a week, you're into graduation for a lot of area high schools, I'm afraid, and their events.
That's a
Just thinking
really
about
great
everybody being
for us
able to
to think about.
participate.
yeah, no, thank you. That's a really
It's a big one for
good, a
the
big thing for us to think about.
local high schools.
Because the high schools will be participating this year. We already know that Alpharetta High School's culinary program will be there, as will Cambridge High School ag program. So it's important. Thank you. I'll make sure we look into that.
Any other questions? Amanda, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Let's see, make sure I'm operational here. Good, okay. So a little updates and going on in arts and culture. I wanted to give you a heads up that we have some upcoming mid-year requests. And I just wanted to ask for your support and just kind of make you aware. And if you have any questions, I can share some things with you, later this week too. Back in, I think it was 2018, Morgan, help me out. 18, okay. The department had a master plan that was
Yes.
created. And the cultural services was a little bitty baby. We were very young, and there wasn't a lot of input that we could give at that point. We just didn't have consensus of the community. We didn't know what our resources were, so we've learned a lot since then. And in 2020, we had asked for, and that was part of the department master plan, is later we would ask for a cultural services master plan. And we had it in the budget in 2020, and we all know what happened then. So now we are asking again to have the cultural arts master plan. We have a lot going on. Community development is very busy, and we process a lot of their public art requests. And we just need to have a better grasp on that area, on also what the community wants to see in the arts. And that's all the way beyond classes. That's just, it may be something like, do we want an art zone here that is very, it fits in with the style of the building, and then we may have another art zone that's a little bit funkier, for lack of a better word. So we need some help in identifying and input from the community. We have a proposal. I'd be happy to share it with you and send it out. It's basically, for a plan like this, we would be asking for engagement. She would be interviewing stockholders, doing some online surveys, and doing visioning workshops. And then she would be looking at different foundations and organizations. We'd be doing inventory, which we've really already done that, of all of our art resources. We have that on a GIS system. I'd be happy to share that with you, with maintenance plans already. And then we would do arts and culture programming, see what resources we have. I know one big thing that we've needed is a performing arts center. So that's been an ongoing request. Also, she would work out an arts and culture strategic plan and look at a partnership map and strategy. She would do programming recommendations and a short-term work program. So there's some other things in here, but those are the highlights. But that's kind of important to arts and culture right now, so I kind of wanted to emphasize that that's coming up. Any questions on that? Stories Project. Are you familiar with our Stories Project? We interview people in the community. They're posted online. We have about 80 stories right now. And these are live interviews. They last anywhere from about 30 minutes to an hour, and I've talked about them. This year we are proposing, when we have a capital project for this project we already have funding for in the budget, and we're asking to spend this money this year for the Bailey Johnson community documentary. We have a little bit of a teaser. I can send that to you too. It's about a 10-minute teaser video. I didn't want to, actually, I'm sorry, it's a 3-minute teaser video, and I'd be happy to share that with you. The committee that does the Stories Project has said, yes, we want to do this. We want to share the story this year. So that's actually on the budget too, on the mid-year request.
How long are these videos? They're a half hour, they're an hour, they're...
This project would be more, have you seen the Farmhouse documentary?
Yes, you showed, I think I came and watched it one time.
This would be a little bit more in that format. We don't know how much content we'll have right now, so we have a proposal for a 20-minute documentary, a 40-minute, and a 60-minute documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've reached out to the developer for the Bailey Johnson project,
Mm-hmm.
and asked if it goes over what we have, if we get a lot of content, will you help us fund this? And so he's trying to see if he can support us with that too.
Okay.
Great.
Were you thinking of doing it the same way you did the Farmhouse one with like a viewing and all that kind of stuff? Like that was kind of a production when you did that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we probably would. I would assume we
Yeah.
would, but I haven't gotten that far in the event.
Fair enough.
For the launch, but I think it's a really good story for Alpharetta to tell. It's a very unique story for North Fulton. We had the one school in North Fulton. I don't know if you know about it. We had the one school in North Fulton that all of our black residents went to school there. And until then, they had to drive downtown to Atlanta and spend probably about 3 hours every day going downtown to go to school. So, but I can tell you more later. But
Did you ask the people that bought or that bought that property if they want to help pay for this video?
That's who I spoke to. Mhm.
Good idea.
So we have a feeling this project's going to grow into an hour documentary. We have a lot of content. The story's never been told, so we're hoping that they'll be able to give us some support.
Perfect.
No, it was just the Historical Society had voted. It's just a story that really hasn't been told, and it's very unique to Alpharetta. For upcoming, I'm getting ready to skip over. Play It Again piano program. We have our painted pianos that are in parks, they're around. We have a unique piano. We have a baby grand. We have the only baby grand in this program that's all over in different cities. And sadly, the baby grand is not sounding very, very good anymore. They have a shelf life when they're outside, they get weathered. And so we've decided to retire the piano, but we are going to be replacing it. We put out word that we're looking for a baby grand, and we're actually got 4 responses, people that want to donate baby grands. So we've been looking at those, and our next step is to have somebody that knows something about pianos to go play them, and then reduce that down to which one we should select. So we'll be repainting that and getting one out. But the thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the piano and we're going to let it live on in the art center. We have an artist that is breaking this down, and they are going to create it into a sculpture at the art center. So that is happening right now, and we're kind of excited about that. It's he's putting, I don't know if you recognize this wall, but it's kind of, the restrooms are down at the end of the hallway before that doorway to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not in the gallery, but it's in here, so it'll be a permanent art feature in the art center. And one thing that is not on here I wanted to share with you, we are going to unveil this project on February 11th as a part of our Black History Month. And Shelton Cochran is the artist. And along with that, that evening, we're going to be doing a Harlem Renaissance meets Alpharetta. And it's a combination of a concert and the spoken word, and we're doing that in celebration of Black History Month.
When is that, Kim?
February 11th at 6:30 p.m. And it's free to the public.
I met the artist when he was disassembling the piano, and it was a complicated process because he couldn't take the keys out until you unscrewed it from the back. But he was so friendly and energetically conversing with us while he was doing all this.
He is so excited about it. I've been calling him the piano man, and he loves it. He's really into this project. So, our portrait quilts show, our art show across the hallway in the community gallery was about ready to go down soon. So if you haven't seen it, please stop across there and look at that. Down home on the farm, we have an open call for artists. And this is kind of unique. We have our artists in the area working with our historians. So we're going to have kind of a farming kind of art, and then they're going to have actual historic art, like a plow and things like that, that'll be a part of the art show. So they're working together, the historians and the artist. If you want, we have a Bob Ross painting class. I just threw that in for fun. No painting experience needed this Saturday. We still have a couple of spaces left. It is super chill, and it's very, very easy to do. This is a hard one to say in a public meeting, but Love, Sex, and the IRS. The City Center Players will be presenting that in the Black Box Theater. And it's just a story about musicians, jobless musicians that are basically have been pretending like they have been filing their taxes jointly, and they get caught. And it's just a fun little story. It's just like that. So, and I think that's it.
Thank you.
Questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recreation Services Division.
Good evening, everyone. So good to see everyone. I just want to go ahead and, I know you have all this in front of you. I'm just going to touch on some highlights. We had some holiday events. They were very successful. Lots of fun things for the kids. And the Heartfelt Market, I think I spoke about that the last time I was here. We had 16 vendors. I know that doesn't sound like very many, but for special needs vendors, that was a large number. And we're hoping next year to add on to that and expand that event. Our winter solstice lantern walk, unfortunately, was canceled due to the freezing cold weathers that blew through. So hopefully next year that will go and we won't have a freezing week during that time. Staffing, I do have a new supervisor at the Adult Activity Center. It's Toby Smallwood. Sorry, Kim. He did come from the Art Center, but he has 16 plus years in experience with active adults, and he also is bringing a great level of creativity out to the center that is going to be a great addition to what's going on out there. Athletics, was great to hear from Vaughn up here. The numbers are a little wonky when you look at my NAFL numbers on there compared to what he said, and what he had given me were the numbers that were strictly on our fields, so that's why you see a discrepancy there. So I was really excited to see the numbers were overall up for them. That cheerleading number was fantastic, and I am excited to see what they're going to be able to do as time goes on, because they really have caught a lot of momentum, and their program's just taken off. Let me see if there's anything on there. One of the highlights with athletics was the MOU at Johns Creek to add soccer was approved by Mayor Jim Gelvin and City Council, so thank you for that. That was great, and that is going to really benefit the soccer program, and looking forward to the Johns Creek residents benefiting from that as well. Our monthly initiatives, under monthly initiatives, I just want to kind of give you an overall focus of what my team is going to be doing during 2023. We are going to be updating our recreation strategy. It was a 3-year strategy prior to this. I'm going to expand it to a 5-year strategy. We had so many changes going on through our program and through our department that I wanted to keep it a little bit shorter, but now I feel confident that we can go ahead and move it to a 5-year recreation strategy, and we'll be working on that this year and implementing it. We are going to be working on expanding our offerings at the Adult Activity Center Art Wing and Preston Ridge. Those are constantly changing programs right now. We want to go ahead and continue building on those. And staff development is always a number one priority with me to keep our staff growing and challenged and bring new skills to what they're doing on a daily basis. We're looking at some facility improvements. We had a lot this year, and we're looking at painting some of our facilities and just making some areas a whole lot better inside of our buildings. And the number one focus on our team, and we do this every day, is we want to serve our community by offering the highest quality programs, activities, and events and customer service to our community. So that's what our focus is for the year. Last thing, we have some monthly happenings coming up in February. We have the Rotary Polar Plunge coming up on February 4th.
Is that you?
Who's jumping?
Oh, come on, we'll be there to support you.
Mayor, are you jumping? At the Polar Plunge?
Oh, no.
Okay. Anyone up here jumping?
No.
Well, I'll be out there lifeguarding, so I'll save you if anything happens. And the last thing is we have our Valentine's dance, which is a family dance, and that is the Enchanted Forest from 6 to 9 on February 11th. So I know one of you are bringing their kiddos, Carla. So pass that around to your neighbors if they're looking for something fun to do as a family at the community center on February 11th. And that's it for my report. Any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So the MOUs seem to be moving kind of, they just, like, they're coming by us kind of. Can you just give us a list of what arrangements we have with Milton and what arrangements we have with Johns Creek?
Okay.
I think those are the only people that we have MOUs with at all, is that right?
Well, for athletics, that's
For
correct.
athletics. Oh,
So-
I don't care about the anybody.
For Milton, we have an agreement for football, help me out, softball, and for the special needs camps. So anyone from Alpharetta and Milton can benefit from that. For Johns Creek, we have baseball, lacrosse, soccer, and, oh, I'm missing one. Baseball? Did I say baseball? Baseball, soccer, lacrosse. What was the last?
Softball, any girls?
It's softball. So that's with Johns Creek.
Baseball, lacrosse, soccer, and softball?
Yes.
And just to add a level, this is all rec only, is that correct?
This is rec only, that is correct.
Rec only? Mm-hmm. And that's the same with the Milton? Mm-hmm. Rec only?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
There's lacrosse on the Milton.
Oh, yes, that's true. So
Lacrosse?
Add lacrosse to Milton, yes.
Do we have any others? So no basketball. Essentially, that's the only sport that we don't.
Because it's not a league, it's not an association-run league, we run it.
We being the staff.
The staff, yeah, the city of Alpharetta runs it.
So there's no residency.
In-house is completely.
Yeah. So there's no residency requirement if you're running it in-house. Is that kind
No,
of?
there is a residency requirement. Nobody gets a benefit from that other than Alpharetta residents.
If you're, and it has non-residents, but if you participate, you have to pay a non-resident.
Right.
Christmas market, is that?
Christmas market is Amanda.
Great event, but the gym was very packed. Folks were bringing in strollers and people going in different directions. And ran into Morgan a couple of times.
Literally.
Literally. Have people going in one way and walking through. I know you're always gonna have people that go against the grain a little bit, but I think we kind of funnel people in and out of the way. It just makes
It's a good suggestion.
I was anxious to get out of there.
So,
But
since,
great events, great vendors.
since Amanda's not at the microphone, I'll address that. That was the extension of the farmer's market, the holiday version of the farmer's market done by the ABA. And there was more people came than was anticipated, to be honest with you. There was a very compact area for the numbers that came. So already next year, that the ABA is talking about using the gym and the field behind the community center if that's possible. And we also had, the CVB had photos of with Santa in the lobby, and we found out that that's also was a huge driving point. So we'll probably put them in the dance room or something else next year to kind of open that up. But, you
people just came out. It was a great event, and, so the ABA was ready for the event, but the numbers were just incredible. So I know they're making adjustments, and we're going to be helping them with that moving forward.
Will there be more formal parking as well? Because parking was crazy.
No, there won't be any more parking next year than there is this year. But I think one of the things that we can do, and the ABA can do ahead of the time, is to let people know where they can park. And that was a big issue. And again, I'm kind of, and I try not to do this. I'm kind of getting out of my lane a little bit here with the ABA. But one of the things they had issues with was some of their vendors, that their vendors just simply took up some of the better parking. Despite their best efforts to get people to move, they didn't move. So they said they're going to have to get a handle on that ahead of time. Once that car is parked and locked, it's hard to get somebody to change it. So they just got to get a handle on that as well. So, first year experiences are always a good thing. And the good news was there were a lot of people came, and it was a great event.
Any other questions?
I have a question on Preston Ridge Community Center and the programming. I know that's a new facility, and we've been adding programming. Is it like at capacity of programming? Are you still growing? Like, what's the plans for Preston Ridge?
That's a good question. We now have a full-time coordinator out there, so that has helped massively. And she has, in the short time she's been there, she's already added a lot more programs. Most of them are during the day. They're geared towards seniors, lots of fitness classes. And we also have games going on out there. We have one-off events going on out there, and that's going to get built on as she's out there more and more and more. Obviously, she's working on her programming. So it is going to be to capacity. I anticipate probably by mid-year, if not a little bit more. That's our goal anyways, to get that space filled up. Plus, it's filled with rentals. It's our premier rental facility, so on the weekends, it's rented almost every single weekend, and in the evenings sometimes too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What type of rentals? Renting it out?
They are limited out there. We don't do any kids' birthday parties, so it's adult parties, whether it's 50-year parties or it's anniversary celebrations. We have a lot of cultural groups come in and do activities in there as well. We have people coming in and doing trainings. We don't do baby showers. No, sorry. That's still a kid. No, we limit it to adult type things, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to the next one, Park Services, Bonds, Project Management.
Good evening. And it's hard for me to say, but go Dogs. Actually, I do cheer for them. I do cheer for them a little bit, but I drew the. We're combining the Park Services report, so I drew the short end of the straw. So.
Kurt, hold on a second.
But you guys had to leave. I thought you were leaving. Dennis. Jeremy, thought you were.
Check with them, they're okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't get started on that.
No, I checked, yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Bowers and I need to excuse ourselves, if you don't mind.
Yes, excuse, thank you.
Derek, you can come sit
Hi.
over here.
Time in?
Go ahead.
Yeah, time in. All right. So I drew the short end of George drew the short straw, and I'm giving a report for the three divisions. I'm going to start out with the Wills Park Maintenance Facility. It is going vertical. Matter of fact, since this report was submitted, it has made tremendous progress. The mezzanine is in. I think the concrete, the floor for the mezzanine is poured and it is enclosed. So it is moving along and progressing within the timeline that was submitted back in December. In park enhancements, the turf replacement project we believe, is on schedule. Obviously, the cold weather and the excessive amount of rain after this report was submitted did slow them down. They were ahead of schedule. Now we're hoping they're on schedule. We are doing a punch list walkthrough. There will be a few punch list items that they will be addressing. We still hope that January 31st, we should be able to let folks use the field. We cannot allow anyone to use the field until they do what they call a GMAX test, which is an impact test. Just making sure that the surface is safe if a kid falls on it, that they do not get a concussion or have a serious injury. So we cannot do anything until that GMAX test is passed. So usually is a go the first time, so not a big deal, but we still have to wait for that test. The wayfinding signage program, we are making strides on that. We have the traffic controls directional signage at Woodbridge Park. If you've gone in there, you've noticed that, and it has helped tremendously with the flow of the park. We are beginning to start our park rule sign initiative. The ordinances were updated last year, and now we are charged to get the rules in the parks and posted. Cogburn Road Park is the first park that we did do that installation or that update. And I don't know if you noticed it, but we have facility entrance signs at the community center and the Wills Park Recreation Center, and it changed the entrances to that tremendously. And we're proud of that, and we're looking to started, doing that in other facilities as well. First of all, any questions as far as that's concerned? One other thing to add about Park Services, yes, we had cold weather. And yes, we had some damage in some of our facilities with broken pipes and so forth. However, working with Public Works and some really good plumbers and other contractors, the damage was not as severe as some of the surrounding communities. We fared fairly well. There were damages, but no damages, any critical operational facilities and so forth. So good news for that. Any questions?
Regarding damage at Wills Park, my yellow park or your granddaughter's yellow park, what's going on with quite a bit of those installments now with tape around them, or they've been ripped out?
Talk about the tape as far as
like caution tape
around the playground area?
Yeah.
Well, that is they are doing a stream bank restoration project led by Public Works. It's a reforestation project, and that design is kind of in conflict with some of the equipment that were there. So we're having to reconfigure our playground a little bit. We're not losing, we're the tire swing, which was installed back in the early 90s, which they don't even make that, tire anymore. That's going away. But the other swings and the other elements that are there, we're just reconfiguring it to make sure that we're in compliance with state stream bank buffers, and also to work with Public Works with that reforestation project that will keep that bank stabilized, and our playground won't wash away. So we're working on that. We have an installer. They're going to be moving that around. Meanwhile, Public Works, with their plan, is going to move forward with that. So all that should be taken care of within the next few weeks.
Thank you.
Good question. I didn't, that's another one that's popped up over the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's happened, just like that. So, any other questions?
Let me add a little bit to that. So, Public Works, Pete Sesechowicz, who is our Director of Public Works, found an opportunity with the Environmental Protection Agency to reforest the bank along on that creek from what we call the second bridge, which is the bridge closest to the building, all the way to Wills Road, because that is the whole stream bank of both of those streams in Wills Park are eroding away, and they're going away. That particular project, EPA said, if you have a project that is shovel ready and you can do it in the next 90 days we'll give you the money. So that's why it came upon us very quickly, and that's why those pieces of equipment had to be moved because they were within those zones. So just want to let you know it was one of those opportunities where we could take care of a major erosion problem and let the federal government pay for it. So it happened very quickly, and I would tell your daughter, in which I had to tell my granddaughter in 4.5-year-old language, everything's coming back but the tire swing. So that's the easiest thing to say, is all coming back except for the tire swing. And as your daughters know, that tire swing was not very friendly anyway, because if one child sat on it, it literally sometimes would flip that child out. So that's the wanted to help you with that answer a little bit as to why everything happened so quickly.
What a win-win. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Moving on to the bond projects overview. The projects are moving along in the design phase. Old Rucker Park, they've finalized the design concept. It is getting very close to be able to be presented to recognition and for workshop to the public. And we're excited about that. Budget numbers are coming in very favorable and within striking distance, so we're happy about that. Waters Road Park, the design build contract was awarded to prime contractors on January 12th by City Council. We have our first kickoff meeting with that project this Friday. So we're excited about that moving forward. Mid-Broadwell Park, there's a couple changes on both Mid-Broadwell Park and Webb Bridge as far as revising my comments. Mid-Broadwell Park, we are moving forward in a phased approach with the goal to get that park operational this year. We're phasing it with the importance of, hey, when we get the restroom hooked up, we're going to work on getting the playground, which is the big element I know that the community wants, getting that playground installed, and then working on the access in the parking lot area in that order. So we're excited about that. We are going to be moving forward on those things. It'll be a phased approach and with different elements going on. It won't be one contractor doing it all at one time. So we hope that'll save a little bit of money as well.
Did you guys find $600,000?
I'm sorry?
I thought that's in the minutes, that last time when you talked about it, it was going to be a 1.1 million and we only had $500,000.
We were going to build the park as designed. It was going to be considerably over budget. But we feel like we have a plan to approach it to be able to meet what the communities voted for with this park and still be able to build the elements with the amount of money that we have available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'll cut to the chase. The biggest thing we're going to do is eliminate the parking lot, the paved parking lot. And the parking lot will initially be gravel. Because if we do gravel, if we leave the gravel parking lot as it is, we don't have to do stormwater for the new parking lot, which drove the cost up. So that's why Kurt was saying that while we're just going to phase things in differently,
Yes.
and we're going to build the park so that the public can enjoy it, and then eventually, sometime in the future, pave the parking lot if it's deemed necessary that we need to pave that parking lot. So the stormwater and that parking, because there was so much impervious surface in the parking, it was driving up the stormwater, which was driving the project. So we've just taken a different phased approach so that we can get the park open with a gravel lot, is the easiest way to say it.
We were down over the weekend over the Riverside Park, and they have a big permeable parking lot down there with dividers and everything. And I felt like it wasn't bad. Like, it didn't look like it was going to eat anybody's high heel shoes or do anything else at a lot of those.
Yeah, and that's.
If you don't pave it, then they're kind of nasty on your shoes. So.
And that's certainly an option when we get to the phase where we're building a parking lot, but if we disturb that parking we have to completely redo it. So that's why we're just we wanted to build it in its entirety. So what we did is we said, okay, we're going to take a phased approach and we're moving the parking lot to the end of the road, end of the line. And when we get there, we'll figure out if we have enough money or when we would have money to pave that parking lot. In the meantime, it's a gravel parking lot for the, and it's, hopefully will encourage people to walk to the parking, to the park instead of driving to.
Play with rocks.
Because it's not gonna be a destination park. It's gonna be like Windward or Cogburn. It's not gonna be a destination park.
Yes, yes.
Good, thank you.
Webbridge Park, obviously the biggest challenge is that it's sected in water and sewer with the restrooms. So Public Works is working with us. We're kind of taking that and tackling on that in two approaches, two different projects, with the water and sewer being separated from the actual turf program. So that's, with that going on, and if that progresses and gets the support, we should be able to, start working on getting those two projects kind of moving forward. I don't have much more detail other than the fact that we've split them out and we have a plan to move forward. And we're going to be able to use the bond money that was approved for the installation of the turf field. So that's what our intent is.
But we can't turf it until they've done something about the sewer line, right?
We have to, there has to be, it has to be coordinated, and we have to make sure that that we are moving forward in a certain direction, addressing the water and sewer. And before we, commit to
Turfing
the actual, the installation of that.
Kurt, do you have any idea how far back it'll push that? Do you have any idea how far back it will push that project?
No. Do you have anything? No.
We don't. We hopefully, at the next commission meeting, we'll have more information on that, because we are getting close to, as far as exactly how, if we were going to run a sewer line, how it would run and what it would cost. Public Works is working on that, so they feel confident in the short term we're going to have an answer to that question.
Okay. Is that restroom still operable? Does it work?
It is operational. Yeah, we did have some issues with the septic, I think in the last couple months. Eric, is everything still, all those issues addressed? Yeah. So, yes. So it's already starting to show, that even before we even started the project, that the septic, there are issues with that in that area. So it is definitely something that we need to address.
Thank you.
Farmhouse project, the design team is working on a concept that will be ready to be presented to council and the public, and us off the rec commission. So we're getting close on that. As far as the Wills Park projects, we had the kickoff meeting for both the Equestrian Center and Wills Park proper on December 20th. And that project is off and running, and the design team is working on the concept. They're in the conceptual phase of the design. So we're excited about that. The Wacky World Leadership Team, Leadership Committee has been formed, and so we're excited about that project. As a matter of fact, I think they've launched a website for that, and fundraising efforts are going to pick up some progress on that. And of course, the restroom design has been approved, so it is waiting for the design for the site work and the engineering for that, so we can actually build that. And that hope that would be kind of happening along the lines of when Wacky World is going to be constructed. One other thing to add: the Equestrian Center, the renovations for Arena 3. Which is the arena on the top, above the two lower arenas. That contract, we're in contract phase. The committee has reviewed it. We chose a vendor, which is the same vendor that built the first one along with arenas. We're in contract phase with that, so hopefully that will pick up some progress, and we'll break ground here in the next few weeks.
What is the numbering system for the arenas? I'm just curious.
I'm sorry?
The numbering system for the arenas?
That hurt it.
Good evening, I got you. So,
Hi, Matt.
Hey.
You're the man.
so currently, they used to be on a letter system, A through D. So what we've done is we've gone away from that. So the new construction of the new arena will be 1, and then it will go to 2, 3, 4, and then the cover will be 5.
Okay, so the
Those-
cover's gonna be 5, okay.
That's correct. So we figured that would just make sense because it just kind of.
So you're starting at the bottom and kind of
We start at the bottom, we work.
go up, okay, all right, fair enough. I was just curious, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Like I said, I didn't even hear the question.
Sorry.
Heard it way back
I
there.
got my microphone on.
I'm still trying to figure out what you asked, and Matt heard it, so it's coming up. And then the final, we had a meeting yesterday with the design team in Union Hill Park, really talking about the concept, trying to get our numbers in line with what we've asked, what the community's asked us to build. So, you know, they're kind of going back to the drawing board, kind of looking at the concept, trying to get everything kind of in line with the available funds. Anything to add, Mr. Rogers? Anything else to add? So,
You did a good job.
any questions?
I think you were going to start same topic on the Wacky World. Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you share a little bit more about the Wacky World leadership? Because I don't recall any playground having a leadership group. I don't remember any entire Bond Park having a leadership group. It's always been you guys going out there, getting public input, and then going to design team. So what makes this so different that has a leadership team, and what's their charter?
Well, the committee for Wacky World is really mirroring the first generation of Wacky World, where we had a community-led committee that helped with the efforts of raising funds and raising, interest in the park. So that's what we're doing. We're modeling. Wacky World 2.0 is modeling the original Wacky World.
If you don't mind, just give us a quick overview, because some people weren't here when we did that.
Okay.
A quick overview of what the community-led project will be.
Okay. Wacky World, back in the mid-90s, right after we bought Wills Park, one of the first efforts that the community wanted to do is to build a really cool playground for the community at Wills Park. That's kind of one of the first things that they did. What a group did was form go to the mayor and leadership and say, hey, we want to build a program, and we build a playground, and we want to do a community-led playground. Leathers was a company that did those projects. Basically, what they did was they came in, they said, hey, we have this program that you can form a committee to help raise funds, and we have a system in place that we can support you in building a community-led playground. And in that, you form a committee, and when you form the committee, then you had subcommittees, fundraising. They had organization as far as volunteers. You had committees that did the actual childcare on the day of the work and so forth. And it kind of just didn't just do one day. It covered several days. And this committee was a steering committee that helped organize every element of that project, from fundraising to picking the design and what elements were going to go out there, as well as the installation, because the community helped build this park. It was very, very labor intensive as far as just a lot of sweat equity when it comes to these community build programs. Wacky World 2.0, we're doing the same concept. We're using another company, Play by Design, which is a second generation company that is kind of an offshoot of Leathers. Basically the same concept. And their focus is, and their expertise is, taking some of these first generation community build programs like we did with Wacky World and rebuilding them, and kind of taking that and going to the next level, because obviously playgrounds have a lifespan, and wood playgrounds even have less of a lifespan than other ones. So that's what their expertise is, and that's what we're doing. We're taking that same model and basically taking Wacky World and connecting the generations from, you know, the parents that did it with their kids. Now the kids have their kids, and their grandparents are going to be involved. So it's going to be a really exciting program to see kind of come about, because now we're connecting the generations of the community. And you can't, I mean, I don't know, I'm excited about just talking about it. So. But I can go all night long, but I want to go home. So.
When do you anticipate this happening, the start of the actual construction? We're a year or so out, is that correct, before you actually start doing the work out there?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, about a year. Okay. I mean, you know, now that doesn't mean the work's not going to begin. I mean, the committee is going to start. They're going to be forming, and they're going to be going to the local schools and getting input from the kids about what they want, and it's going to generate a lot of energy as far as an excitement, as far as what the kids are concerned. So a lot of that's going to be happening before the actual construction. And it's going to line up perfectly. We still have to remember, we still have to do the design and the civil design to get that area kind of prepped and ready so we can install the playground.
On the fundraising portion, how much, is there like a goal, and if they don't hit that goal, what's the impact to the playground? What's the story with fundraising versus, say, the bond referendum funding the playground?
The goal for the raise is $500,000.
And if they don't
that will be supplemented with bond money.
Okay.
That's all. So yeah, you're looking at the possibility of building $1 million playground.
Thank you.
You know, now some of the bond money is also going to be going toward the civil and the site prep side of things as well.
And to answer your question directly, if they don't hit that goal, there just won't be as much playground. We're hoping for $1 million Wacky World 2.0. If they only raise $400,000, then it'll be a $900,000 playground. So we have the bond funds already committed, obviously, and this committee has just said we want to raise money to try to elevate and make that a bigger and better playground. So if they don't hit their goal, then there's just less of a playground, which is more, even if it's less than what, if they don't hit their goal, it's still more than what we would do without their help. So,
thank you.
It'll be an interesting story, though, for them to sell, that we have this playground, but we're going to condemn it. So now we have to get it, you know, I mean, because there is a playground there. But
Yep.
So we have to explain that playground is not safe.
absolutely. That's one of the things we got to explain, that it's a 25-year-old wooden playground.
Right.
And it's been in the ground for 25 years. Now, we've put lipstick on the top half of that pig, but the bottom half of that pig has been in the ground for 25 years. So we know that playground is on its last leg. That's what we got to explain.
But you got to say it without scaring people.
Oh, absolutely,
you
absolutely. That's why we're calling it Wacky World 2.0, because we're going to build back the same type of playground with the same community field. And that's really what we want to do, is Wacky World is tied to the community so tightly that we want to make sure that we keep that connection to Wacky World 2.0. That, as Kurt so eloquently put, the next generation of Alpharetta residents, their kids can have that connection to Wacky World.
What happens if the funding is exceeded? If there's a huge, like, are we having a bigger playground?
Then we'll have a bigger playground, yeah. Yeah. Might have I just got a cramp, sorry. We'll just have a bigger and better playground.
What Derek's really asking is if there will be an adult play zone too.
Fancy seating.
It goes to Mid-Broadwell.
Yeah.
Onto that.
There you go.
Thank you, Kurt.
There you go.
Any other
Good,
questions?
Carla.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt.
Director Rogers.
Yeah. So as the agenda, well, first, Happy New Year. Good evening. I'm always excited to talk to the commission about the things that we're doing. And tonight it's my pleasure to go over the highlights of 2022. Now, there was a lot of good things that happened in 2022, and for the sake of time, I picked out the top 27. And that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to go through them as quickly as I possibly can, because a lot of them, some of them were repeated tonight. So, and this is in no particular order, and I'm going to read through them and do a little bit explaining, but I'll be glad at any time to answer any questions you may have. So work began on the construction of the new maintenance shop in Wills Park. Now that's one of the highlights, because our maintenance folks, our parts guys, have been working out of the horse barn for about 2 years now. So talking about morale building and bringing that team back together, we're so excited about that. And Kurt did point out that we're in the dry now, so we really feel like that by the end of February, we're going to have a working maintenance shop in Wills Park, and we're certainly going to invite everybody to that ribbon cutting. We also were instrumental in installing an outdoor mural at the movie studio grill. And that's a highlight on the cultural side of the house, that whole wall. If you haven't been over to see that mural, you really need to go see it, because that's what murals ought to do, is brighten up an area and bring life to an area. So we're real proud of that. We installed wayfinding signs this year, not only in Webb Bridge Park, which we did recently, we also did it at Union Hill and Marconi Road Park as well. And I really like our wayfinding, because if you see that blue, kind of like Commissioner Saha's shirt, you see that blue, you know there's something fun and exciting that you can turn into. The bocce ball courts were opened up at North Park, and that was originally a Boy Scout scout project, and it just turned out really well up there. The Union Hill Pavilion has been used as a special event facility by several groups. And that's a personal favorite of mine to announce, because one of the things that when I got here a few years ago, Union Hill was locked up and that pavilion was just not being used. Now to see Union Hill being transformed with the greenway coming there, as well as an event facility, it's just been really fun to watch that. We mentioned the Public Works completed the Rotary stream bank stabilization project, and that was basically the culvert that goes under Wills Park. It was eroding away, so that project that we're talking about, where we had to move some of the equipment, is the next extension of that as we're working our way upstream. But Rotary played a big part in that, in getting that started. We put in a new basketball court at the Alpharetta Community Center. We had a game of fun there. Not many people took me up on the opportunity to have fun, but that new basketball court really looks good, and we're really proud of that came in under budget and on time. The medley, which is the newest round of temporary public art, was installed and includes 5 new pieces of artwork around town. If you don't know where those 5 are, let me know later and I'll tell you how to get there. You can walk to all of those locations. We also installed an art crosswalk at the Art Center. That's a small little thing, but that's just, it's kind of a view of what's coming, because we're going to try to install more art crosswalks in our parks, not on the streets, not on public streets, but in our parks where we have crossings. The new equestrian arena #1 was officially open. That was really a milestone for us. I always look at that as that's the really the first phase of a $10 million renovation that we're going to bring to the equestrian center. So that was really a big deal. We installed new audio equipment at the equestrian covered arena, and that was donated by the Equestrian Foundation outside of the $5 million that they've promised to raise. The groundbreaking was held for the new Alpha Loop section from the Old Milton Parkway to the North Winds. That's all the way past West Side Park, and I'm telling you, that's going to be a game changer, because that's going to connect the Atlee subdivision, which is right there on Haynes Bridge, to Old Milton, all the way to Haynes Bridge and 400. So we're really excited about that. And that's supposed to be completed in the next 12 months. Registration at our all-day day camps was up 25% this year over last year, and our half-day camps, the camps were up 28%. Those are phenomenal numbers, folks, because last year we thought we were pretty much at our capacity, and thankfully Christine and her team saw ways to expand that, and they did a really good. Daily pool admissions were up 23%, and these are real numbers. I can show you the numbers. These are not, I took a course in Clemson one time of how to lie with statistics. That was the name of the course. And it was Econ 201. We're not lying with it. I can show you these numbers. They're real numbers. Over 130 free monthly health and wellness programs were offered every month this past year. Amazing. If you want me to do the math for you, that's over 1,500 free fitness classes that we provided to our citizens this past year. Thank Northside Hospital for that donation. 92% of all cultural arts camps and 79% of all cultural arts programs offered were held. Now that's a big number because in the art world a few years ago we were offering programs and they just weren't making. 2 people were signing up, 3 people were signing up. We were getting complaints from the people that were signing up saying, why aren't these classes making? So Kim and her group have got some traction going on. So the fact that those numbers are at 92 and 79 of what we're offering are making are just phenomenal. And we also held 12 large non-city events at the Art Center, plus another 29 rentals at the Art Center. And the reason I put that on the list is because one of the things we really wanted to do is make sure that the general citizen of Alpharetta knows about the Art Center. Because if we can get them in the Art Center, then those numbers back here, the 79 and the 92, are going to continue to rise. Because once you get in the Art Center, you can feel the energy there and the creativity there. So hope they're going to keep it up. With help from the Alpharetta Youth Baseball Association and the city, we refenced 3 of the fields up at North Park. That's a big deal because those fences were bellowing out where kids had kicked it and they could get their feet up under there. So completely refenced those parks, 3 of those fields up there. Big deal for us, we painted the interior and the exterior of the restrooms at Webb Bridge Park, Union Hill Park, and Rock Mill Park. I know that's not very sexy, but I'm telling you, it's important to keep those restrooms looking good. And you know, the biggest compliment that we can have is for someone to go to the restroom and not have a comment when they come out. That's our goal. Okay, so we removed, thanks to a budget item that was added this past year, where we have money to remove dead and damaged trees. We were able to do so with those at Wills Park, North Park, Webb Bridge Park, Windward Park, and Milton Avenue Park. And tree management is a major ordeal for us when you start thinking about over 1,000 acres and a lot of trees on that. And we are trying to desperately, Commissioner Rand, to take care of our trees and make sure that, you know, that they're safe and sound. So we appreciate that. Kurt mentioned that we installed entrance signs at both the Wills Park and the Community Center. The North Park Multipurpose Field 2 artificial turf was installed this year. We almost forget about that was in this year, but that was a game changer at North Park for both our football and our soccer and our lacrosse rentals. So.
I don't know who did that, Morgan, but they did a hell of a job.
Yes, they did. Yes, they just phenomenal. Public Works replaced the community center's roof. That was a big deal, replacing that roof, that flat roof of the community center. So we were glad that happened. We launched our memorial program where we're letting folks buy benches and tables and those kind of things, and it is off and running. Claire? What's Claire's last name? Thurber. I always want to say Thumper. Thurber is just doing an outstanding job with that of getting the word out that we're selling the benches, and it's been a very successful program. Webb Ridge Park, we took the old tennis courts, we put pickleball on, we had 4 there, we took 2 of the tennis courts, made 6 pickleball courts there, and then resurfaced the whole thing, and it's just going gangbusters there. The city's agricultural plan was approved by Mayor and City Council. That was a grant by Food Well Alliance and the ARC. Plus, we get $75,000 to begin implementation of that plan. That's a big deal, and I'm going to tell you, I won't be here 10, 12 years from now, but 12 years from now, that's going to have a substantial impact on the city. This agricultural plan is, it really will. And then last but certainly not least is the cultural arts curated 22 different exhibits and produced 56 Music Max programs this past year. And those are, again, kind of phenomenal numbers. There were 22 different exhibits that you could go see artwork and 56 free music programs. That, again, a lot of that kind of just passes by if you're not in that zone. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. There are a lot more highlights, but I know I have to stop sometime. Any questions?
Any questions?
Just bravo to you.
To the team. Thank you. As I said all the time, we've put together what I think is the all-star team for Recreation Parks and Cultural Services. And I've worked with a lot over the years, some really good teams, but there is not a better team because of all we're doing with the staff that we're doing. Since I've gotten here, we've actually lost 3 full-time staff positions, and we're still doing more and more and more. And so kudos to the team, because I'm telling you, they're phenomenal. And they're just phenomenal. I'm gonna leave it at that. They're absolutely phenomenal, and they are self-motivated. They're doing these things because they want to, and it's because of the right thing, and because we know at the end of the day, our job is to improve the quality of life of the Alpharetta residents, and we take that very seriously. But we have a lot of fun doing it.
That's great.
Thank you.
Commissioner reports, anybody have anything to talk about tonight?
Does the mayor want to talk to us?
Haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Public comments, nothing. Mayor, thank you for coming, swearing us in. Would you like to say anything, or? I know giving you a microphone is.
I'll just say thank you for all the work y'all do. Staff, of course, but also the volunteers. Yeah. Said this the other night when I swore in. Some of you, y'all are the eyes and ears, the hands and the feet of our council, because there's just 7 of us. And so it's impossible for us to stay in touch with all of our residents. And that's what y'all do for us, is help us hear what's out there in our community, what the needs, what the priorities are, and help us support staff in making those decisions and giving them the resources they need. So that being said, thank you. And if you have any questions, since I don't get here very often, if y'all have questions for me, feel free. Now's your opportunity.
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't hesitate. If you need to reach out to me, whether you have a question or you have a constituent with concerns, always feel free to call me. My cell number's on the website.
I also have it.
Yes. She does.
Thanks again. Thank you. We're going to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, wait. Let me look it up. Hold on. I move to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Rand and seconded by Commissioner Saha that we adjourn the meeting at 7:04 p.m. I now call for a vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. I love it when the partners come in.
Oh, yeah.